So I am running an experiment, and it is based on the advice that I am actually giving to my clients and to some of the people that I'm talking to when presenting at like workshops and through podcasts, particularly as a guest, and when I'm speaking to audiences that are like looking for ways to get their expertise indexed on the internet, but they're not necessarily the type of people who know where to start, and they're not necessarily the type of people who are accustomed to posting content, or they're not necessarily interested in that sort of hustle. So here we are. I am literally driving in my mom van right now, my very unsexy Dodge Caravan mom van, and I've got my wired headphones plugged into my Apple phone, to my iPhone, and I am simply speaking in to the voice memos. And so I'm taking a moment out of my day that was going to happen anyways, where I might have been productive in the form of a phone call or in the form of learning through a podcast, which I do really love to do. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to throw on my voice memo and do the thing that I'm telling people to do. And over again, I'm just not getting the response that I'm hoping for in terms of like hearing people really doing it. And I wanted to showcase how easy it can be. And I wanted to walk the walk. So here I am walking the walk without a high production recording situation. And if you're listening to this, I've clearly published this conversation I'm having with myself and with my phone onto a podcast through an audio RSS feed or through a YouTube channel or both, which is likely the case. So a couple of things. You do not need a professional setup to record your own thoughts or to record conversations. All you really need are likely the devices that you're already using. And for people who say they don't have time, my suggestion is you probably do have some time in your day where you can reflect on the things that you are thinking about. My core message is that you can find ways to put your expertise on record on the internet so that AI search has a better opportunity to understand you and to synthesize you and summarize you when somebody looks you up. But also, you have a better opportunity to show up as an expert when people are looking for someone like you, or when someone is looking for expertise, when somebody is looking for an answer or a framework or a concept or insights that will help them. And so one of my favorite tactics, one of my favorite strategies, one of the things that I think people are the most nervous about, most afraid of, one of the ways that's actually the easiest ways to capture your ideas, your expertise, your unique point of view, your judgment, how you make decisions, why your value is interesting and nuanced, and what it is you do in your market. It's actually just simply through voice, through conversation. I love the idea of people hopping on a Zoom call and just asking each other questions, and that's the content. But if we're not ready for that, my experiment that I'm conducting right now is that you can literally pop your headphones in, go into your voice memo, and after an important day, an important meeting, somewhere where something that led to reflection or something that led to you thinking about what did people ask me today? What questions were presented to me today? How did I think about the answers? What were the things I had to think about? What nuance mattered when I considered the answers? Like, these are actually really important ways to think about how to unpack your expertise. And I get it. Sometimes the examples that I give might not sound relevant to what it is that you do or your market or your industry. But what I would like to encourage you to do is think about, how does your day look? How does your week look? How does your month look? What are the things that stand out? What kind of conversations are you having? What kind of reflections are you having? What kind of emails are you answering, or questions are you answering? Things that surprise you, news articles that might come out that make you say, I have something to say about this. I know context that would change how I'd frame this thing. Like there's so many things in our day-to-day lives that we can naturally speak to that don't necessarily come to mind when we think, oh, I have to sit down and create content. I have to sit down and craft a post. I have to sit down and write an article. So the experiment that I'm doing right now is me simply talking into my phone, sharing my ideas, getting my ideas out through my own voice in a way that is so not polished. I'm in my car. I do not have any equipment. For full transparency, I'm going to listen to this after. And because I am a little more interested in capturing an audience, because I want people to connect with the things I'm doing, and I'm trying to candidly build a name for myself in this world of AI visibility. Yes, I'm probably going to pump this raw audio file through I think probably Adobe Enhance and make it sound better and less noisy in the background. I'm actually less interested in the clarity of voice for people to listen. Of course, if people are interested in listening, audio quality can matter. But for the purpose of what I'm talking about, for the people who've never shared anything online at all, for the people who are like, yeah, you know what? I will voice dump, I will brain dump my ideas into my phone and publish it on a podcast and not share it with anyone and not care about an audience, because you do not need an audience for AI search engines to capture the data that you help explicitly clarify on the internet, the things you publish. So think about this: the title, the description, your name, your industry, the website that you link to. And by the way, more and more, the AI generated transcript of all of the words that I'm saying to you right now that can be used in a variety of ways and that can potentially lead to AI search engines better understanding my full brain dump versus a single paragraph around my bio, on my About Me page, on my website. I am able, through my voice, I'm able to signal the things I'm prioritizing, the things I'm thinking about, how I'm thinking about it, why I think it matters, why I think certain strategies are important. These things are showing up, even if you have nobody listening. And that's where I would mostly encourage people who are nervous about this. Just assume no one is listening, and that's a good thing. You can record your voice through this sort of very raw, very low lift approach. And you can index a lot of stuff about what it is that you do, what you know, and the judgment, the depth, the expertise you bring to your lane, your industry, your clients, your services. And I will argue that most people aren't doing stuff like this. I will argue that even the people who are most active online are probably not sharing the depth. They're probably performing things that get certain messages across, and I don't want to diminish them because I believe that there's value in social media. But if someone's searching you, what signals are they finding? What story are they finding? What story is the internet sharing about you? And current AI search assistants and engines cannot make a story up. As much as they can hallucinate from time to time, so don't come at me, they are not built to guess. They are not built to assume that just because you're a 20-year practitioner in some business, that you have XYZ expertise and that you are trustworthy and that you have an authority in a certain lane, right? And so through voice, through conversations, through even you talking to yourself, you can unpack a lot about the things that are related to why people trust you, why people hire you, why people refer you, why people want to talk to you. I think a lot of us really clearly underestimate the things we're good at and the things that we share with people through normal conversation and normal thinking when we're not trying to get behind a camera and create some 45-second viral snippet. The things that we say, there's so much that can be shared and that shows why people trust us. And it's hard, I think, for ourselves to even see it. So I think getting into the practice, getting into the exercise of talking about the thing that we do and maybe being intentional around how we want to be positioned, what are the core things we want to be known for to help provide some focus on the types of things you might want to be unpacking. that can be very, very helpful. It's a good exercise. And for people who are building out a framework, they're building out IP, maybe they have a book, maybe you're a consultant, maybe you're a coach, maybe you're somebody that you want to be a speaker, you're a leader, a thought leader in some way. This can also be very good practice to just talk about the things you want to talk about without a script, just to get your ideas out, and you can get better over time. And that's just a secondary benefit. But what I would argue is in the era of AI search, the value of compounding data that you can index on the internet over time far exceeds perfection. Time matters. And right now, when I'm sharing this, I mean, I'm predicting, and don't hold it against me, but I think there's a window of time. Maybe it's a year or 2 years, maybe longer. I don't think so. But where people who are not experts in marketing, people who are not experts in traditional SEO, search engine optimization, people who are not experts in AI at all, that people who are just willing to get their expertise online, and this is people who may have not been on the internet in any meaningful way for the last 20 years, people who have possibly not been on social media in a meaningful way in terms of their professional lives and their careers and their businesses, you can really move the needle without overdoing it. You do not have to be on the hamster wheel. You do not have to chase algorithms. You do not have to be looking for viral fame. You do not need an audience. You do not need to share. You do not need to market. But you do need to index your thinking and maybe your case studies, your experiences, the stories you can tell, things that signal that you actually are doing the thing that you're doing, that actually touch on the thing you're good at in a meaningful way, because these search engines, including Google, really value original points of view, original insights, original takes on things that touch on nuance. Like if you're in a geographical market where there's regulatory nuances or market nuances, that will always signal more experience and expertise and trust than an AI generated blog post that is just done up to be content on the internet to touch on keywords. That is all regurgitated. If you ask your AI assistant, your ChatGPT, etc., to write a blog post for you or 100 blog posts for you without any input from you that provides some angle and something new and fresh, the internet and Google and Claude and all these things, they recognize like this stuff is really just spam. It's just noise. And when you're able to put stuff out there, even if assisted by AI, as long as it's based on your voice, based on your point of view, it can really carry a lot of weight. But also when it comes to all of this stuff, you can also get the transcripts. You get the transcripts from what you say. You can get the transcripts from recorded conversations. You can take those transcripts, you can add them online somehow, even in raw form if you really wanted, or you can run those things through ChatGPT and say, hey, these are the 3 things I really want to be known for. Here's my brain dump. Help me craft an 800-word article optimized for LinkedIn, for a newsletter, for my blog, and optimized for AI search. Like use keywords, but don't make it superficial, make it matter, and use AI trained on your own voice, your own priorities, your own tone, your own insights, your own stories, your own case studies, your own reflections. Train your AI to come up with meaningful content that you can use. And so you don't necessarily have to publish this audio. I recommend do it for a variety of reasons, but if you're really not comfortable, start with the written form. Take these brain dumps and translate them into digestible, meaningful, well-structured articles that you can share in public-facing ways and turn that into your thought leadership stuff. And you can do this on your reflection or your thinking in the car on the way home from the office or in between meetings or wherever you are. We all have a few moments in our day where we're thinking. And this is where I'm saying you can take your thinking and turn it into something that can really work for you, that can go to work for you, because it's not intended for a feed. It's not intended just for content, although there are lots of ways to turn this stuff into content if you want to take it to the next level. This is stuff that can actually like really serve you for a period of time, that can add context and color and visibility and recommendations even over a period of time, and that can live online and add to, it's like a chapter. or a note in your professional portfolio. And so start asking these tools, ask Google, go into private browsing mode, ask Google and go into the AI mode. Like, who would Google recommend for the thing that you do in your market area? See who shows up. Most people listening right now probably won't see their own names. If they do, that's wonderful. But again, keep tabs on it. But if you're not showing up, wonder why, ask why. Say, hey, why didn't you recommend this name? What's missing? I'm realizing that through this experiment and as I've been driving and talking that I've been rambling. And that's something that I need to get better at when I'm recording in more of a live, unscripted, not really thinking about it sort of approach. And that's okay. I'm sharing that because I want to showcase that perfection is not the goal. I have a hard time with that, but I want to get better and I want to practice what I preach because I am better off sharing more stuff more often from my point of view. And more often does not mean every day, but getting into the habit of unpacking my thoughts without making it a big deal where I have to overthink. How do I show up? What do I need to talk about? What's the thing? And without making it a big editing production. However, if you hang tight with me, if you stay tuned, what I'm hoping is if I continue on with these kind of experiments, you'll see that I get better because it becomes a muscle. It becomes something that I'm better at thinking about. I'm better at reflecting on my own ideas. I'm better at talking about them. I become more fluent. I become more fluid. I become more concise. Brevity is not my strong point, and that I know. But as you become more practiced, you might realize what's the beginning, middle, and end? What's the key thing I want to get across? And that's good enough. That's what I'm looking for. And that's what I'm hoping to share with you. It's not about perfection. It's about showing your proof. Showing your proof online so the internet and AI search tools can find you, understand you, showcase you, maybe even recommend you. And maybe if someone stumbles upon this stuff, they also think you're great. But they're way more likely to stumble on the summary of you based on what's available. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this was interesting. I hope this was worthwhile. I hope the audio quality wasn't too terrible. And I hope that AI picks up what I'm throwing down. And I think it will. And if you want to fact check me on that, just Google it. Ask about the thing I talked about in this conversation and see if it shows up and see if this episode that I'm sharing, which is really just a voice note in my phone, but technically it's an episode on my podcast or on my YouTube channel. Can it find it? Is it referencing it? Is it working? I think it is. And if you see this within a day of release, maybe give it an extra day or two. But I'm finding that these things really go to work fast. And so now it's just time to take everything you know, think about a few ways that you can show up and show your proof. I'm Ashley Smith. Thank you for humoring me with listening in to my experiment. And I plan to do it again. And I plan for next time for it to be a little bit better and probably shorter. All right, everybody. Have a good one.